Count the ingredients in the thing you ate last night. Go on, not the recipe, the label. If any of it came out of a box or a bag or a tray, turn it over and count what's printed on the back of it. I did that on Tuesday with a package of what they call a skillet dinner. 31 ingredients. 31. 6 of which I could not have told you what they were, and one of which was listed twice under 2 different names. $8.99. Now here's my grandmother's supper, and I've got it written down in her own hand right here. Cornmeal, buttermilk, grease. 3 things. 91 cents in this month's money, and it fed a family, and it came out of that oven looking like something you'd put on a table when the preacher came. 3 against 31, and I'd sit down to hers every night of the week. Here's the thing about 3 ingredients that nobody wants you to work out. A recipe with 3 ingredients cannot be sold to you. There's no room in it. There's nothing to add, nothing to package, no step you can be charged for skipping. The whole of the profit in modern food lives in the ingredients between the 3rd one and the 31st. So the 3-ingredient supper had to go, not because it was bad, because there's no business in it. And the way they got rid of it was to make you feel that 3 things isn't enough, that a proper supper needs a list, that if you put a pot on the stove with 3 items in it, you have somehow given up. I want to take that idea away from you today, because it isn't true, and because your grandmother knew it wasn't true, and because on the night you are tired and short and don't want to think, 3 ingredients is the difference between cooking and not cooking. Every single thing on this list is 3 items, not 3 plus salt and pepper and oil and a stock cube and some herbs. 3. Salt, pepper, and cooking fat I count as part of the kitchen, the same way she did. Everything else, 3. I'm Otis Barlow, I'm 73, and I live alone in a cabin in the southern Appalachians, in the hills I was born in. My mother fed 6 of us through years when there was no money at all in this house. And before she died, she made me sit at her table with a pencil and write it out, and made me promise it wasn't going in the ground with her. A good part of what's in that notebook has 3 lines under the name and nothing else. That wasn't a shortage of imagination. That was a woman who had solved the problem so completely that there was nothing left to write down. 30 of them. Every one, 3 ingredients, every one priced by me this month, and every one of them nearly gone. And number 1 is the one I read you at the start. Cornmeal, buttermilk, grease. I'll tell you now so you know whether to stay with me. It costs 91 cents. There is 1 step in it that takes 90 seconds, and that almost nobody does anymore. And if you skip that step, you get a flat, pale thing, and you'll wonder what everybody ever saw in it. Do it, and you get a crust on the bottom that I have never once seen come out of a modern kitchen. And it's the one my grandmother made on the day she got married, and on the day we buried my grandfather. I'll tell you about that when we get there. 30 down to 1. One quick thing. If you cook for 1 and count what it costs, subscribe. That's the whole ask. New one every few days out of the same notebook. Number 30. Beans, onion, salt pork. Soaked pintos, 1 onion, a piece of salt pork the size of your thumb. Water to cover by 2 inches, 2 hours on low, and mash a quarter of the beans against the side of the pot at the end to thicken it. 52 cents a bowl, 4 bowls out of the pot. This is the foundation of poor American cooking, and everything else on this list is a variation on it. If you learn one thing today, learn that a $2 bag of dried beans is 4 suppers. And cook the whole bag, not a cup of it. Beans keep 5 days in the cold, and they get better every one of them. So the work you do tonight is work you don't do on Wednesday or Friday. When you cook for 1, that's the only arithmetic that really matters. Number 29. Fried potatoes and onion. 2 potatoes cubed small, 1 onion, hot grease. Lid on for 10 minutes, then lid off and don't stir for another 8 so the bottom catches. 61 cents. Not stirring is the recipe. Everybody stirs and everybody gets pale steamed potato. Leave it alone and you get a crust, and the crust is the whole reason to make it. Cube them small, 1/2 inch, no bigger. Big chunks give you a raw middle and a burnt outside, and then you decide the recipe is wrong. It isn't the recipe, it's the size of your knife work. Number 28. Potato, onion, and egg skillet. Same as above, and then crack 2 eggs over the top for the last 4 minutes with the lid on. $1.03, and now it's a complete supper with protein in it. That's the pattern I want you to notice all the way through this list. An egg turns almost anything on this list into a meal for 40 cents. Salt the eggs on top, not the potatoes underneath, and go heavier than you think. A potato takes a great deal more salt than anybody expects, and undersalted potato is the most disappointing thing you can put in your own mouth. Number 27. Tomato rice with bacon. 2 strips of bacon cut small and rendered in the pot. 1 cup of rice stirred in that fat until every grain shines. 1 can of tomatoes and a cup of water. Lid on, 20 minutes, don't lift it. 84 cents, 3 plates. Coating the rice in that fat before any liquid goes in is what keeps every grain separate. Skip it and you get one solid mass. 30 seconds of stirring buys you that, and it's the difference between rice you're pleased with and rice you're apologizing for. Number 26. Macaroni, tomato, and cheese. 2 cups of dry macaroni, 1 can of tomatoes, 2 cups of water, all in one pot. 15 minutes with the lid on, then a handful of grated cheese off the heat. 96 cents. The macaroni never gets boiled separately and nothing gets drained. Everything that comes off the pasta stays in the pot and thickens it. And if all you've got is the end of a block of cheese gone hard at the edges, that's the right cheese for this. Cut the hard part off, grate the rest, and you've spent nothing at all. Number 25. Cabbage, bacon, and onion. 2 strips of bacon rendered, 1 onion, and a whole head of cabbage chopped rough on top. Splash of water, lid on, 12 minutes. $1.90, and it feeds 4. Cook the cabbage longer than you think. 5 minutes past where you'd stop, it goes sweet. And that's the point where people who think they hate cabbage change their minds. Bacon, fat, and cabbage is one of those pairs that does more than either half suggests. If you've got the grease can going, you don't even need the bacon. 2 spoons out of the can, and you're at 90 cents for a supper that feeds 4. Number 24. Beans and cornmeal dumplings. Beans going in the pot. Mix cornmeal with a little salt and enough boiling water to make a stiff dough. Roll it into balls and drop them in for the last 20 minutes with the lid on. 68 cents. It is a whole supper with the bread cooked into it out of one pot, and it fed the South for 200 years. Keep the lid on for the whole 20 minutes and don't look. The dumplings steam above the beans. They don't boil in them, and one peek lets the steam out and leaves you with heavy wet lumps. Number 23. Milk gravy on bread. Grease, flour, milk. 1 minute of cooking the flour in the fat before the milk goes in. Always that minute. Then salt and a great deal of pepper. 65 cents, 7 minutes, and it is the fastest hot supper in this notebook. Over toast, over a potato, over rice, over the leftover cornbread, it doesn't care what's underneath it. That's why I keep coming back to it. Whatever you've got in that kitchen, this turns it into a supper. Number 22. Tomato, rice, and onion. 1 can of tomatoes, 1 cup of rice, 1 onion, plus water. 20 minutes with the lid on. 72 cents. The meatless twin of number 27, and if you've got a little cheese or an egg to put on top, it eats like something considerably more expensive than it is. A pinch of sugar in with the tomatoes. Canned tomato is sour, and the sugar isn't there to sweeten it, it's there to take the edge off. You will never taste the sugar, and you'll always notice when it's missing. Number 21. Franks, beans, and mustard. 1 can of pork and beans, 2 hot dogs cut in coins, a good spoon of mustard, 10 minutes. $1.14. The mustard is the whole reason this is on the list. Without it, it's a sweet can of beans. With it, it's a supper. Let it go past hot, another 5 minutes, until the sauce thickens and catches round the edge of the pot. Everybody heats this and stops. Cook it a bit, and it stops tasting like a can. Number 20. Lentils, onion, and bacon. Lentils need no soaking, which makes them the fastest dried legume in the store and the one almost nobody buys. Bacon rendered, onion softened in the fat, 1 cup of lentils, 4 cups of water. 35 minutes and it's done. 58 cents a bowl. Buy lentils once and you'll keep buying them. No soaking, 35 minutes, and they cost less than any other protein in that store. I don't know how they fell out of American kitchens, and I'd take them over beans on a night when you haven't planned ahead. Number 19. Greens with a ham hock. A bunch of collards or turnip greens, a smoked hock, water. 2 hours on low. $1.40, and you drink the liquor out of the bottom of the bowl with cornbread. That liquid is the best part of the dish, and pouring it away is the one unforgivable thing you can do in this kitchen. And your greens want more time than you'd give them, and more salt. 2 hours isn't a suggestion. Fast-cooked greens are tough and bitter, and that's why a whole generation grew up saying they didn't like them. Number 18. Onion soup. 3 onions, sliced thin, and cooked slowly in grease for a full 25 minutes until they're deep brown. Then 4 cups of water and a slice of bread in the bottom of the bowl. 63 cents. 25 minutes of patience turns 3 onions into something rich and dark. There is no shortcut, and there's your whole lesson in cheap cooking. What you haven't got in money, you put in as time. Low heat for the onions, and don't rush them with the burner turned up. High heat burns the edges while the middle is still raw, and burnt onion is bitter all the way through the pot. 25 slow minutes, and you can be doing something else for 20 of them. Number 17. Homemade egg noodles. 1 egg, a cup of flour, a pinch of salt, and about a spoon of water. Knead it, roll it thin, cut it in strips, drop them in whatever broth you've got. 19 cents. Almost nobody makes noodles anymore, and they take 8 minutes. They're heavier and better than anything in a bag. Let the dough rest 10 minutes before you roll it, or it'll fight you and spring back every time. 10 minutes on the counter under a bowl and it rolls out like nothing. Number 16. Potato soup. 3 potatoes, 2 cups of milk, a good pat of butter, with water to boil the potatoes first. Mash half of them right in the pot. 82 cents, 3 bowls. Never let it boil once the milk's in. Milk boils and it breaks and goes grainy, and there's no fixing it. Mash half and leave half. Mash all of it, and you've got wallpaper paste. Mash none of it, and it's thin. Half in, half out is the texture you remember, and nobody ever writes that down. Number 15. Fried apples. 3 apples sliced, butter, a spoon of brown sugar. 15 minutes in the pan until they're soft and dark at the edges. 74 cents. Eaten with cornbread. This was supper in this house more times than I could count. Not dessert, supper. And it's what you do with the apples in the bowl that have gone soft and that you were about to feel guilty about. Leave the skins on. That's where most of what's good in an apple is, and peeling 3 apples is 10 minutes of your life you'll never see again for a worse result. Number 14. Sausage, potato, and cabbage. A piece of smoked sausage in coins, 2 potatoes cubed, half a cabbage. All in one pot with a splash of water, lid on, 25 minutes. $2.20 and it feeds 4. And it is the single most filling thing on this list for the money. Put the sausage in first by itself for 3 or 4 minutes, so it gives up its fat, and then cook everything else in that fat. You're not adding grease to this dish, you're using the grease you already paid for. Number 13. Squash and onion. 3 yellow squash sliced, 1 onion, butter. Lid on, 15 minutes, and then lid off and let some of the water cook away. 90 cents. In late summer, people cannot give squash away. Learn this one in July and August, and it's very nearly free food. Don't crowd the pan. Squash is nearly all water, and a crowded pan steams it into mush. Do it in 2 goes if you have to, or use the widest pan you own. Number 12. Salmon patties. 1 can of salmon, bones and all, mashed in. That's where the calcium is. 1 egg and a handful of crushed crackers. Form into patties and fry in grease. $1.60 for 4 patties. Do not pick the bones out. They're soft, you won't feel them, and they're the best thing in the can. Crush the crackers finer than you think, and let the mix sit 5 minutes before you form the patties. It firms up, and then they hold together in the pan, instead of falling apart on you when you go to turn them. Number 11. Tuna and noodles. 1 can of tuna, 2 cups of cooked noodles, 1 can of cream soup, mixed in the pot and heated through, or baked 20 minutes if you want a crust on it. $1.48. Church supper food. It fed half of America, and it takes 11 minutes. And if you've no cream soup, make it. 2 spoons of flour in a spoon of fat. 1 minute. Then 1.5 cups of milk. That's the can, for 15 cents. And you decide how much salt goes in it. Number 10. Chicken and rice. 2 bone-in thighs. Bone-in, they're half the price of breast and impossible to dry out. Browned in the pot. 1 cup of rice stirred in the fat. 2.5 cups of water. Lid on, 25 minutes. $1.90 for 3 plates. Skin side down first and leave it alone until it releases on its own. If it sticks when you go to move it, it isn't ready. The pan lets go of the chicken when the chicken is done browning, every time, and it will tell you. Number 9. Hoppin John. Black-eyed peas, rice, and an onion, cooked together in 1 pot with water and a bit of whatever smoked meat is around. 66 cents. Eaten on New Year's Day across the whole South for luck, and eaten the other 364 days because it's cheap and it works. A splash of vinegar in the bowl at the table, not in the pot, in the bowl. Every plate of beans and rice in this country is improved by it, and hardly anybody does it anymore. Number 8. Cheese grits with an egg. 1 cup of grits in 4 cups of water, 20 minutes on low stirring often, a handful of cheese at the end, and a fried egg on top. 88 cents. 20 minutes, not 5. Grits are exactly like cornmeal. The reason people think they're bland is that nobody cooks them long enough for the grain to burst. Stir it more often than you want to, especially in the last 5 minutes. Grits sit on the bottom and catch, and once you've scorched a pot of grits, you can taste it right through the cheese, and there's no saving it. Number 7. Bologna, potato and onion hash. Bologna cut in strips and fried till the edges curl, then 2 cubed potatoes and an onion in with it, lid on 15 minutes, lid off 10. $1.30. Fried bologna is a different food from cold bologna, and this is the supper that proves it. Get the bologna properly brown before anything else goes in. Pale bologna adds nothing. Browned bologna leaves a crust in the bottom of that pan that the potatoes then pick up, and that's where the whole flavor of the dish comes from. Number 6. Poor nights, bread, egg, and milk. 2 eggs beaten with half a cup of milk. Stale bread dipped in it and fried in butter until brown on both sides. 48 cents. We call it French toast and treat it as a breakfast for children. It was a supper made specifically to use bread that had gone hard, and stale bread is genuinely better in it than fresh. Fresh bread turns to mush in the egg. Let the bread sit in the egg a few seconds aside, and no more if it's stale. If you've got soft, fresh bread, in and out, and don't hesitate, or you'll be turning wet rags in the pan. Number 5. Buttermilk biscuits. 2 cups of flour with the baking powder and salt already counted as kitchen, half a cup of cold grease or lard cut into it, and 3/4 cup of buttermilk. 34 cents for 8 biscuits. The fat has to be cold, and it has to stay in lumps. Warm fat gives you a scone. Cold lumps of fat melt in the oven and leave the layers behind them, and that's the whole of what a biscuit is. Handle the dough as little as you can stand to. Every extra minute of working it makes your biscuits tougher, and the ugliest looking biscuits are almost always the best ones. That's not a comfort, that's how it works. Number 4. Red beans and rice. Beans, rice, onion, 1 pot, and the rice goes in on top of the beans for the last 20 minutes so it cooks in the bean liquor. 59 cents a plate, and it eats like something you'd pay for. And if you've got a bay leaf and a shake of cayenne in the cupboard, this is where they earn their keep. 2 things you buy once a year, and they're the whole difference between a bowl of beans and something you'd serve to somebody. Number 3. Potato pancakes. 2 raw potatoes grated, 1 egg, 1 onion. Squeeze the water out of the grated potato in a dish towel. Squeeze it hard, that isn't a nicety, mix, and fry flat cakes in grease, 5 minutes aside. 53 cents. Grate on the coarse side and work quickly. Grated raw potato turns brown on you within a few minutes. It doesn't hurt anything, but if it bothers you, get them in the pan directly and don't stand around. Number 2. Buttered macaroni with tomato. 2 cups of macaroni cooked in 1 can of tomatoes plus water, and a good pat of butter stirred through at the end. 62 cents. I'm putting a nearly bare dish this high on the list on purpose, because when you are truly at the end of yourself, this is 11 minutes and 3 items, and it is hot, and it is real food, and a bowl of it beats going to bed on nothing every single time. And now, number 1. Number 1, skillet cornbread, cornmeal, buttermilk, grease. That's it, and I mean it. No sugar, no flour, and if you put sugar in it in this part of the country, somebody will say something to you about it. Here's the making, and here's the 90 seconds that everybody skips. You put your iron skillet in the oven with 2 good spoons of grease in it, and you turn that oven to 450 degrees, and you let the pan get hot in there while the oven comes up. Not the batter, the pan, empty, with the grease in it, in the oven, until that grease is shimmering and just starting to smoke. That's the step. While it heats, you mix 2 cups of cornmeal, a teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of baking soda, and about 1 3/4 cups of buttermilk. Mix it rough. It should pour, not spread. Then you take that screaming hot pan out and you pour the batter straight into the hot grease, and it hisses when it hits, and that hiss is the sound of the crust forming. 25 minutes. What comes out has a bottom crust on it, dark gold and crackling, that is genuinely a different substance from the soft inside. Pour cold batter into a cold pan and you get a pale, flat thing, and that's what most people alive today think cornbread is. 91 cents. It feeds 6 with a pot of beans, or 1 man for 3 days with butter on it. Now why it's number 1. My grandmother was married in 1931 in the front room of this house. There was no money for a wedding, and there was no wedding. There was a preacher and 11 people, and afterwards she went into that kitchen in her one good dress and made cornbread and a pot of beans, and that was the wedding supper. 51 years later, my grandfather died, and the day we buried him, the house filled up the way houses do, and she went into that same kitchen and she made cornbread and a pot of beans in the same skillet and fed everybody who came. Nobody asked her to. She was 71 years old and she'd buried her husband that morning. I asked my mother about it years afterward, why that, of all things, and my mother said because it was the only thing she could do without thinking about it, and she needed something to do that didn't need any thinking. I've turned that over for 40 years and I think it's the truest thing anybody ever told me about cooking. That is what a 3-ingredient meal actually is. It isn't a compromise and it isn't poverty. It's a thing your hands know so completely that they can do it on the worst day of your life, when there is nothing left in your head at all. You cannot get that from 31 ingredients. You cannot get it from a box. You get it from making the same 3 things 1,000 times until they don't require you anymore. And that's what I'd want you to take out of this. Not 30 recipes, pick 2. Pick 2 off this list and make them until you don't need to look. Then you own them, and no store and no price and no bad week can take them off you. 30 of them. Start with number 30 and number 1, the beans and the cornbread, because together they're a full supper for under $1.50, and because they're the 2 your hands should know before anything else. And tell me down in the comments what your grandmother's 3 things were. Just the 3. I read every one of them, and I'll say it honestly. A good third of what I cook on this channel now comes out of those comments instead of out of my notebook, and some of them I'd never heard of in 73 years. Her whole book is written out and priced out at the link below if you'd rather hold it in your hands than wait on me. Subscribe if you haven't. There's a new one every few days and the skillet's already in the oven. I'm Otis Barlow. Go eat something.